They say Highway 41 never really sleeps, just hums through the dark like a live wire carrying secrets. Every few miles there's a white cross on the shoulder, flowers browned by the sun, a reminder of who didn't make it home. Officer Daniel Harker had driven this stretch so often he could feel its rhythm in his bones. He knew where the pavement buckled, where fog thickened like smoke, and where cell service always died near mile marker 217. That's where he saw it, a black sedan sitting crooked on the shoulder, hazard lights blinking slow and uneven, as if the car itself was breathing. He flicked on his lights and pulled behind it. The night was so still that even the static from his radio sounded alive. Running the plates showed nothing special, clean registration, out of Indiana, registered to a Paul Whitlock. The kind of name you forget before you finish saying it. Harker stepped out, boots crunching gravel, flashlight beam slicing the mist. The driver's window rolled down halfway before he even spoke. The man inside was mid-40s, calm face, pale eyes, and a tired smile that didn't belong to the hour. "Evening," Harker said. "Everything all right here?" "Yeah," the man replied quietly. "Car overheated. Just waiting for it to cool." His tone was polite, but there was a practiced ease to it, like someone repeating a story they've told too many times. Harker's gaze flicked to the dashboard, no warning lights, no steam, no smell of coolant. The engine hummed smooth, too smooth for a breakdown. "Mind popping the hood?" he asked. The man hesitated just long enough to make the air feel heavier, then pulled the lever. Under the hood, the engine gleamed clean, every surface free of dust. For a car parked on a back road in the middle of the night, it looked like it had just rolled off a lot. The driver stepped out, hands visible, his smile still in place. "That's strange," Harker said. "She's not running hot at all." "Must have fixed itself," the man offered with a hollow laugh. His knuckles were red, skin cracked like someone who worked with their hands but hadn't done so in a while. Harker nodded slowly, stepping back, eyes tracing the mud splattered unevenly across the rear bumper, heavy on one side, like the trunk had been opened on soft ground. "You traveling through?" he asked. "Business trip," the man said, tucking his hands into his coat. "Coming back from a job in Memphis. Mind if I take a look in the trunk?" The pause that followed wasn't long, but it was enough. The man's smile stiffened. "Why?" "Standard procedure," Harker said evenly. "Could be a fuel leak, tools, maybe something shifting around back there." The man nodded once and walked to the rear, pressing the key fob. The trunk clicked open. Harker lifted it, and froze. At first, it looked like blankets piled together, but the beam of his flashlight caught something pale, a hand. He angled the light, and his stomach turned. A young woman lay inside, maybe late 20s, face half-shadowed, lips faintly blue. Her clothes were damp, her hair tangled like she'd been outside for days. No rope, no blood, no bruises. Just stillness. "Step back!" Harker shouted, weapon drawn. The man lifted his hands slowly. "She's not what you think," he said. His voice was soft, certain. "Please. Let me explain. Step away from the vehicle." "I didn't hurt her," the man said, eyes glassy in the beam. "She asked me to bring her home." The words slid under Harker's skin like cold rain. "Home." The man nodded toward the fog-soaked woods beyond the guardrail. "She's from here. She wanted to go back." Static hissed through Harker's radio when he tried calling for backup. He checked the woman's pulse, cold but not stiff. Her face looked familiar. Then he remembered, the missing person flyers. Every gas station, every bulletin board for the past 3 weeks. Lila Dorn. Gone walking home from her night shift on Route 9, never seen again. He cuffed the man. "You're under arrest." The driver didn't fight. He just repeated, "She wanted to go home." Backup was still silent on the radio. Harker closed the trunk, the smell of wet soil heavy in the air. When he got back in his cruiser, he finally caught a faint voice through the static. "Copy that, Unit 41. Female, possible deceased." "Affirmative," Harker said, his own voice strange in his ears. "Suspect detained. Hold position. Back up en route." The suspect sat quietly in the back seat, face turned toward the window. "You want to tell me where you found her?" Harker asked. The man didn't look up. "You wouldn't believe me. Try me." "I picked her up walking along the shoulder," the man said. "She waved me down. Said she'd been lost. I drove her for a while. She fell asleep. Then she stopped breathing. I didn't know what else to do." "That doesn't make sense," Harker said. The man smiled faintly. "You don't hear them, do you? The ones who never make it home." Something about the way he said it made Harker's chest tighten. He stepped out again, driven by a feeling he couldn't name, and lifted the trunk one more time. It was empty. No body. No blankets. Only a wet outline where someone had been lying, and water beating along the edge. From the cruiser, the suspect's voice drifted through the quiet. "She's home now," he said. Harker stared into the fog, into the woods that swallowed the road. The air smelled of rain and earth, and somewhere far off, a woman's laugh echoed just once, soft, tired, and gone. When the radio crackled again, the dispatcher's voice was thin and far away. "Unit 41, confirm suspect and victim location." Harker pressed the mic, but the words came out slow, uncertain. "Dispatch," he said. "I think, we've got a problem." By morning, the rain had washed the highway clean. Patrol found Harker's cruiser parked exactly where he'd called it in, engine off, lights dim, door half open. The suspect, Paul Whitlock, was still in the back seat, calm as ever, hands folded neatly in his lap. The trunk was empty, bone dry, and Harker's body cam showed nothing after 3:07 a.m. Just static. The local paper called it a confused incident, but the department called it what it was, a mess. Detective Marla Vance took over within hours. She'd seen everything from missing hunters to false alarms, but this one felt wrong the moment she stepped onto the shoulder. The air hung thick, heavy with the kind of silence that isn't empty, just listening. She walked the perimeter, boot prints half flooded by rain, saw where Harker's footprints stopped near the trunk, and then a second set of smaller prints leading toward the tree line. Barefoot. Whitlock didn't ask for a lawyer. He didn't ask for anything. He sat in the interview room with his hands folded, eyes distant. "You ever pick up a hitchhiker, detective?" he asked softly when Vance finally sat across from him. She said nothing. "Sometimes they're not lost," he continued. "Sometimes they just need a ride back to where they started." She asked him where he found Lila Dorn. He said, she was walking the line between this world and the next. When she pressed, he just smiled. "You'll see her too," he said. "They always come back to finish the road." The words didn't make sense, but the way he said them made the hair rise on her arms. Forensics came back clean, no blood, no fibers, no trace of Lila Dorn anywhere in the car. And yet Harker's report, found half-typed on his onboard laptop, listed her name clearly under "Victim Identified." Vance drove out to Lila Dorn's address that afternoon. The house sat 3 miles from the diner where she'd last been seen, white paint peeling, porch half collapsed, a wind chime clinking slow against the quiet. Her mother answered the door. Eyes red, hair unbrushed, voice a whisper. "You people already came by," she said. "Said you found something." Vance frowned. "Ma'am, that wasn't us." The woman looked confused, then frightened. "He said her name," she whispered. "Said she was at peace now." She pointed toward the mantel, where a photo of Lila sat beside a small wooden cross. "I told him thank you, and then he just left." Vance studied the muddy footprints on the porch, large, one set only, and a damp patch where rain hadn't yet dried. "Who was it, ma'am?" she asked. The woman's hands trembled as she closed the door. "The officer," she said. "The one from last night. Harker." By evening, the department was searching for him. His radio, badge, and weapon were missing from his cruiser. Whitlock, in his cell, was quiet until Vance entered the observation booth. Then he smiled without looking up. "You found her house, didn't you?" he said softly. "She's home now." When she demanded to know what he meant, he said, he helped her cross. That's what they do, the ones who can't stop listening. That night, Vance pulled Harker's dash cam footage from the cloud archive. Most of it was static and rain blur. But around 3:16 a.m., the image flickered. One frame showed the fog parting, a figure standing in the road, white dress, hair clinging to her face, eyes open. Just one frame. Then gone. The timestamp matched the last second Harker keyed his mic. "Dispatch," he'd said. "I think we've got a problem." After that, nothing but the soft hiss of water and wind. 2 days later, a farmer called in a report from the next county, said a man in uniform had knocked on his door before dawn asking directions to Route 9. Claimed the man's clothes were soaked, his voice distant, like he'd been talking through a dream. The farmer pointed him toward the highway, but when he checked his gate 10 minutes later, no tracks led away. Vance followed the lead anyway, driving that stretch of road until dusk. The fog rolled in thick again, heavy enough to turn her headlights into halos. That's when she saw it, a single cruiser parked on the shoulder near mile marker 217. Her stomach dropped. She pulled over slow, heart hammering. The car was empty, engine cold. The seat was dry except for a single patch near the door. On the dash, someone had left a Polaroid, Lila Dorn standing by the riverbank, smiling faintly, Harker beside her. Neither one looked alive. When Vance returned to the station, Whitlock was gone. Security footage showed his cell door still locked, untouched, as if he'd simply stopped existing. His file, his car, his fingerprints, all gone from the system, erased. Only Harker's voice remained, buried in a corrupted audio file recovered from his radio, faint, low, like a man speaking from underwater. "She's home now," it said. "They all are." The town sealed the case. Officially, Harker disappeared in the line of duty, Whitlock never existed, and Lila Dorn remained missing. Unofficially, the troopers who drove Highway 41 stopped pulling over at mile marker 217. Sometimes, on fog-heavy nights, passing drivers swear they see the flash of red and blue lights in the distance, a lone cruiser idling by the trees. A tall man in uniform standing beside it, talking softly to someone you can't quite see. If you slow down, they say, the lights fade. If you stop, the radio goes dead. But if you listen long enough, under the static, you'll hear a woman's voice whisper, "Almost home." And for reasons no one can explain, every year on the same night, a single Polaroid appears taped to the station door, fog behind it, headlights faint, and a smile that doesn't quite belong to the living. Highway 41 is quiet now. The trees have grown thicker, and most of the mile markers are gone. They say if you drive that stretch alone after midnight, your radio will cut out near the old service road. Some swear they've seen a cruiser there, engine idling, red and blue lights barely glowing through the fog. Others say if you stop and listen, you'll hear a woman's voice whisper, "Almost home." But no one ever stays long enough to see where the road really ends. Because on Highway 41, some stories keep driving long after the headlights fade.